always been a passion for me. That's always been the desire to run my own company. I told him I really want to have my own company. He says, so what's the plan then? How are you going to get there? I needed to get out of software development. The folks that are successful today, they have not only figured out what products to sell, but they've also figured out how to optimize across all the things I talked about. The 4 Ps: placement, which is advertising, pricing, promotions, and product content. They actually interact with each other.
Today, we're diving into the transformative world of e-commerce, focusing on how a leading SaaS company is helping brands grow effortlessly by unlocking the power of data and AI. Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, where we explore the strategic insights and innovative approaches that empower Canadian entrepreneurs to achieve success in the digital marketplace. Now, today we're diving into the transformative world of e-commerce, focusing on how a leading SaaS company is helping brands grow effortlessly by unlocking the power of data and AI. Because in a dynamic and competitive landscape, a business's ability to optimize advertising, reporting, pricing, and promotions is paramount. Our guest today is a seasoned technology leader with over 25 years of experience in software, sales, business development, and partnerships, who has a lifelong passion for entrepreneurship. Joining us today is Fahim, the co-founder and CEO at Trellis. Trellis is a company dedicated to transforming how brands grow on digital marketplace by providing an AI-powered merchandising and advertising platform. Fahim's journey, which includes working at 5 startups throughout his career, has prepared him for the Trellis' journey, and his expertise in data analytics and cloud computing has been instrumental in delivering innovative and scalable solutions that clearly demonstrate ROI. Today, we'll discuss lots including the 4 Ps of merchandising, the AI's role in e-commerce, fundraising for ventures, and Trellis' remarkable awards and vision for the future. So without a further ado, let's dive in. Fahim, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you?
Thank you so much. Great, doing great. Always enjoy coming to Toronto, so appreciate the invite.
Very pleased to have you with us. Now, Fahim, Trellis, as I mentioned in my intro as well, it is celebrating its 5-year anniversary, so congrats to you. And your entrepreneurial journey, which is such a powerful story of a childhood dream coming to life. You've shared that you dreamed of running your own company as a kid. How did your journey through software, through sales, and through business development prepare you to found Trellis? And what lessons on startup life, culture, and resilience did you learn along the way?
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So as a kid, growing up in Ottawa, I used to sit in the car with my father, and I used to tell him, that's the building that I'm going to have my company in. And it was, one of the latest buildings that had come up there. And so it's always been a passion for me. That's always been the desire to run my own company at one point. It was early in my career where I met one of the vice presidents that I was working with. And he essentially said, what's the game plan for you? Like, where are you going? And I told him I really want to have my own company. He says, so what's the plan then? How are you going to get there? And so he actually, provoked something in me. Then I actually went home and I said, okay, I got to figure this out. Like, What is the game plan? What am I going to do over the next 5? At that time, it was a 5-year plan. It turned into more like a 15-year plan, but it was a 5-year plan. And that's really where I chalked out kind of what I wanted to do over the next 5 years to get to where, becoming a leader in an organization or a CEO of a company. And that meant really there was 2 routes. I was a software developer at that time. I knew development was a young person's game, so I needed to get out of software development. It wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be. And if you look at a lot of the companies that are successful, there's two routes that a leader typically takes. He's usually coming from the finance background or an accounting background, and then there was the leaders that came from a sales background. Right? So I joined a few startups, and one of the startups that I joined that we ended up scaling to about 100 million, I started as a developer, and when I joined, before I signed the contract, I said, I'm signing this contract as a developer. I will build what you want me to build, but I want to move into sales.
Right.
And they're like, a developer going into sales? That doesn't make sense. But you know what? Just come in, build what we want you to build, and then we'll see. And so that's kind of how it happened. So I pivoted my career into sales, and been doing that for now the past 20 years. And really, that's been part of the game plan of becoming a leader in the tech space.
That is amazing. It's such an inspiring and a relatable story, Fahim. And it's clear that your journey of wearing many different hats, it required or prepared you for complexities of running your own company today. Now let's explore a core component of that journey, which is a successful go-to-market strategy. Trellis is on a mission, as we know, to make online success effortless for e-commerce brands and agencies, and this requires a powerful go-to-market strategy. Please tell us, what are the key elements of a go-to-market strategy that help brands maximize growth, efficiency, and visibility on Amazon, on Walmart, at Shopify, beyond just advertising?
Yeah, so right now, the way that the market is, it's become really competitive. If you'd asked me 10, 15 years ago, you can simply advertise on Amazon and you can do amazing. You can do 7, 8 figures of sales on Amazon. It's become so competitive now that you can't just advertise. You need to make sure you have the right content. You have the right product. You have the right packaging. You got to look at and make sure you have the right logistics and the supply chain. The other thing you have to look at is Amazon, hits you up with many different fees, whether they're storage fees, whether it's referral fees, and how do you actually optimize all that, right? And so the folks that are, or the brands that are successful today, they have not only figured out what products to sell and how to scale their portfolio, but they've also figured out how to optimize across all the things I talked about, right? So they have the best packaging. They've looked at the dimensions and the weight to really optimize on the cost of shipping, right? They're constantly iterating on the content. They're doing A and B testing on content to drive, better conversion rates, right? So there's the whole, you have to optimize across all these different facets to actually be successful today. So it's become very challenging, and this is where we come into the picture, right? We leverage as much AI and technology to help these brands optimize across those different things.
That's a very vital strategic insight, Fahim, and it's clear that a holistic go-to-market strategy is so paramount for success in today's digital marketplaces. Listeners, if you are looking to make online success effortless for your e-commerce brand, and please learn from Fahim Sheikh, the co-founder and CEO at Trellis, about how to build a winning go-to-market strategy, leverage the power of AI, and optimize your e-commerce operations for sustainable growth. So let's now continue our conversation with Fahim. Now let's delve deeper into Trellis's AI-powered platform and the 4 Ps of merchandising. Because Trellis's AI-powered platform, it unifies pricing for our listeners today. I wanted to highlight. And your product contents, promotions, and placements are also something that we'd like to highlight. And you call the 4 Ps of marketing. We'd love to kind of delve deeper into this concept as well, because it is powerful. So please, Fahim, tell us, how can AI-powered merchandising and advertising boost ROI for consumer brands, and what common mistakes do businesses make managing key e-commerce elements and platforms like Amazon?
Yeah, so it's funny, as brands who sell on marketplaces, whether they're Amazon or Walmart or even Shopify, right? A lot of businesses are on Shopify. They are doing merchandising, but the problem is they're doing it in a very siloed way. So there's a team or a person that just looks at the content, another person that looks at advertising. Some are looking at pricing, but they're looking at all these four Ps in a siloed way, right? And because things have become so competitive, all these four Ps actually interact with each other, right? So if you think about it, and just so for the audience, the four Ps: placement, which is advertising, pricing, promotions, and product content, right? And you really have to optimize across these four Ps today to actually win on those marketplaces.
Right.
And so where does AI come into the picture, right? So if you think about on the advertising or the placement side of things, all the algorithms that we have built within the company over the years is really about how can we get the best return on that advertising spend that a brand, spends money on to drive the best return, right? And so we have multiple AI algorithms depending on whether you're launching a new product or you're trying to just optimize on the return, right? On the content side, you've seen all sorts of innovation happening around content and content generation. I was playing with Gemini on the weekend. You can do some really fascinating things using AI and content, right? The problem though is that there's so much data now. So if you're selling on Amazon, Amazon is giving you so much vast amounts of data and signals. And as a seller, maybe 10 years ago, you could optimize things manually. You could use a spreadsheet to do so. But nowadays you can't because there's so much of it, right? And the data is coming in real time. And as a business, to stay ahead of your competition, you need to be able to ingest all that data in real time and react to it, right? So for example, say a competitor comes in and slashes their price. What are you going to do, right? And so what our platform does is constantly monitoring all this data and it's reacting to it in real time. And that's where all the AI kicks in. Like, how do we figure out what is the right amount of ad spend, at what price point, right? What kind of deals and coupons to run, and how do I optimize my content to give you the best conversion? And all these, we see them as demand levers, right? So which lever should I pull on and when? And that's what our platform actually helps brands with.
That's a very clear and a strategic approach, Fahim. And it's clear that a unified, intelligent solution is what brands need to really navigate the complexities of e-commerce. Now we'll take a short break and don't go nowhere because we'll be right back to explore the adventure of fundraising and scaling a startup.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. You still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive into Fahim's insight on fundraising, attracting the right investors, and growing Trellis to the next level. Now let's discuss a crucial aspect of growing any startup, which is fundraising. Fahim, Trellis is a fast-growing company in a competitive market, and you've successfully raised that capital for your venture. So your insights on this particular topic would be very invaluable. Please tell us, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs on fundraising, any key challenges and opportunities in attracting the right investors for growth? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a tricky subject, right? And as a first-time founder, you're always going to make mistakes. And have we made mistakes? Absolutely, right? I think the key is really to find investors that understand the space and that they understand what are the challenges of the space, and they've also been through the journey themselves. Right? And those are the founders that can really appreciate the hard work and the ups and downs that come with starting and running a company, right? And those are the right investors for you. A. The second thing is they must believe in the mission, right? The challenge that we have as small and medium-sized businesses in Canada today is there's not enough capital that you could find in the States, right? And so when we were raising funds, we looked at Canadian investors and we also looked at American investors. And what's tricky to navigate as a Canadian company, though, is you get a lot of benefits if you maintain your Canadian-controlled private corporation status. And those are tax benefits when you exit down the road, or even when you want to get grants, So whether they're IRAP or SHRED grants, you need to maintain your Canadian control status.
Right.
The problem, though, is as a Canadian company, access to capital is not as good as if you're in the States. So you have to find that right balance of finding investors. And we went with investors in the States for our seed round, but we only gave up enough equity so that we could still maintain our Canadian control status. Right? So my advice to Canadian businesses that are looking to raise funds is be mindful of maintaining that status if it's important to you, and it was for us. But look at the States, because there's a lot of capital there in the States. It's a lot easier to get capital, right? And that's really what we did. So we have, some of our seed investors are from the States, but we do have a bunch of angels in Canada. And it's funny, as a small business, you never know when friends or people in your network will support you, right?
Absolutely.
And so over my career, the past 25 years, I've made certain relationships, and you never thought, what can I, how can I leverage this at some point down the road? And it's amazing, I have, friends that were visiting Ottawa saying, okay, what are you up to these days? And I said, well, I have this company now. We started this about a year ago. They're like, what are you doing? So we tell them about the company and the vision and all that, and they're like, do you need money? I'm like, absolutely. As a small business, we always need money or investors, right? So it's those relationships that you've fostered over the 10, 15, 20 years of your career that really help you down the road. So maintain those relationships, and also, be really mindful about, if you are going for grants, then you have to maintain your Canadian control status.
Absolutely. That's incredibly valuable advice, Fahim. And it's clear that fundraising, it requires a strategic approach and a clear vision for growth. And some of the great things that you've highlighted was the effective fundraising is clearly such a vital component for any startup's journey, enabling them to really scale and achieve their long-term vision. Finally now, Fahim, let's discuss Trellis's impressive awards and vision for the future. You've received numerous accolades, including the Amazon Tools League Award and being recognized as one of the fastest growing companies in 2024 and 2025. Please tell us, what do Trellis's 2025 accolades mean for your vision, and how will you continue delivering scalable e-commerce solutions while shaping the company's future?
Yeah, 2025 has been awesome for us. We kind of started off the year with being recognized by a big influencer in the space on having one of the best products on the market, right? So that was, a nice check mark to have. Then we won one of the fastest growing company. We were number one last year. We were on the top 10 this year, so
Right.
that was awesome. We recently won Best Places to Work in Ottawa, but really kind of really got me excited, and it was last week in Seattle. We were actually selected as finalists by Amazon
Okay.
as having the best AI technology, as well as a Technology Innovation Award.
Wow.
Right, so we're finalists for that. Again, super excited. What does that mean to us? It's just validation, that it's not just us saying that we have the best technology, because I believe we do, but it's outside people talking about it, people looking at us and saying, wow, these guys really build good stuff, right? And so it's that external validation that's always helpful. And it also kind of validates the mission we're on, right? We've been an AI-first company before AI became sexy, right?
Right.
And so we've been doing that for 5-6 years now. And so, it's a bit of a buzzword these days and everyone's talking about AI, but we were doing that in our algorithms, 5 years ago, right? So it's nice to see that, we were on the right track 5 years ago, and now with all the effort that the team puts in day out, we're getting recognized for that. And that makes me feel good. I feel really proud about the team that we've built. I think it's the team and the talent on the team that makes a company. And I think we've done a phenomenal job there.
That is amazing, and such an inspiring vision, by the way, Fahim. And it's clear that Trellis is a leader in its field, committed to both the innovation and the culture. Now that we are kind of wrapping up, we wish we could take this a little longer, but since we're time limited, we will be wrapping up with just one key piece of advice or a key takeaway that you'd like to give to our listeners about building a successful, resilient brand in the digital marketplace.
I think for us, when I look back at the clients that we work with day in, day out, you need to really spend time with them. Right? If you understand your clients' pain points, right, and what challenges they face day in and day out, then you can actually build not just a software platform that addresses those challenges, but you can also build, the support and the services around that as well, right? And when you really care about the customer and doing right for the customer, then I think that's really what I would give the biggest advice to anybody out there is spend time with your customer, learn about them, get to know them, right? And then go and build based on what their challenges are and what do they face day in, day out. We had an agency that has been with now for us about 3 years, and we were in an event, and his partner comes to the event as well, and she comes and shakes our hands and thanks us. I'm like, why are you thanking us? She says, thank you for getting my partner back to me.
Aww.
So, when you hear things like that, you've actually solving a problem for them, right? People are working, around the clock, and if we can bring back some of their time for them, then we really help them, right? And I think that's the biggest advice is spend time, learn about their challenges, and then act on it.
That's a powerful and an actionable message. Thank you so much, Fahim, for joining us and for sharing your expertise and your vision with us. It was
My
amazing.
pleasure anytime, and thank you for organizing this. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. That was an insightful conversation with Fahim Sheikh, the co-founder and CEO at Trellis, on his entrepreneurial journey, go-to-market strategies for e-commerce, the 4 Ps of merchandising and AI's role in e-commerce, fundraising, and their remarkable vision for the future. And thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. We really appreciate your continued support. Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more expert insights and resources that can help your business thrive. You can also visit our website, canadiansme.ca, for valuable information and tools. Special shout out before we leave to our partners, RBC, UPS, Avon Global College, ADP, and Google for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses in Canada. Until next time, please keep innovating and striving for success. We'll see you in the next episode.